الله والحمد لله رسول الله رحمة المهداه والنعمة المسان علاه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهد الله فهو المهتد ومن يضلل فلن تجد له وليا مرشدا أما بعد. First of all, I want to give you good news that we have thought about this class to be more organized, have more engagement. You're going to tell them what you're going to do, inshallah. This ayah that, remember that we said we're going to go with themes, topics in the Quran and also stories from the Quran. I have discussed with you ayah from Surah Ali Imran. Today I want to discuss with you the ayah from Surah An-Nisa. This ayah number 36. If you have a mushaf with you, we'll see the ayah number 36. This ayah is foundational in relationship. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم وَاعْبُدُوا اللَّهَ وَلَا تُشْرِكُوا بِهِ شَيْئًا وَبِالْوَالِدَيْنِ إِحْسَانًا وَبِذِي الْقُرْبَى وَالْيَتَامَى وَالْمَسَاكِينِ والجار ذي القربى والجار الجنب والصاحب بالجنب وابن السبيل وما ملكت أيمانكم إن الله لا يحب من كان مختالا فخورا. One verse encompasses all relationships. Allah said, اعبدوا الله, worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, ولا تشركوا به شيئا, and don't associate anyone with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Number one point I want to make, Tawheed is the foundation of all relationship. Tawheed, believing in oneness of Allah. Because relationships are two-dimensional, vertical and horizontal. The vertical is with Allah and horizontal with everyone else. This ayah talk first about the vertical relationship. The more that you have clarity in your relationship with Allah, the more that we have clarity in relationship with others. The more we become God-centered individuals, the more that we can be able to explain all relationship that we have with fellow human being and with the creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Therefore, the Tawheed is one of the most important foundation in a view of Muslim to the world. And that's why shirk is to partition things. Shirk is to have all of these conflicting views, in life, because if a person does not believe in the oneness of Allah and does not believe that Allah is the only one deserved to be worshipped, that person have what they call the state of confusions. Clarity comes from understanding the nature of relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If you look to Quran and to see the message of every prophet and messengers, you will come to know that the prophet was sent to bring people back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but the specific very dominant problem at that time they want to address. But that problem occurred because of Tawheed, lack of Tawheed. When you look to any society and you have social ills, of course that we're concerned about anything in our society that is not good. But all of this stem from the fact that people don't relate or don't realize their obligations, the relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in terms of understanding who Allah is, who God is, and what that means to believe in God. That's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala begins this ayah saying, اعبدوا الله اعبدوا الله ولا تشركوا به شيئا. Worship Allah alone. It's the nature of human being to worship. There's no human being does not worship, even an atheist. Everyone worships. If they don't worship Allah, they worship somebody else. They have to worship. Human nature to submit. But they might worship their desire, they might worship their money, they might worship their ego, They have to worship something. And therefore Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَعْبُدُوا اللَّهِ, worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, وَلَا تُشْرِكُوا بِهِ شَيْئًا. Then if a person have complete submission to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, no partners, no associates with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that will inform their all other relationship. In the beginning of Surah An-Nisa, there's an ayah that we use in every khutbah, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة. O humankind, be conscious of your Lord, the one who created from a single soul. وخلق منها زوجها, and he created its mates from that soul. وبث منهما, and from those man and a woman, Adam and Hawa. وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء, and have from them many men and women scattered around the world. Then he said, وَاتَّقُوا اللَّهِ, be conscious of Allah, الَّذِي تَسَاءَلُونَ بِهِ, the one who you demand your rights in his name, mutual rights in his name. تَسَاءَلُونَ بِهِ. وَالْأَرْحَامِ, then he talked about kinship, which is all humanity come from how many womb? Humanity comes from how many wombs? One womb. Every human being is related to another human being. That for a fact. All of us are relatives. We are. As Imam Ali said, a human being, either your brother in religion or your brother in humanity, or equal to you in khalq. For this fact that all humanity is one family, it impacts all other perspectives of life. It addresses the issue of racism, sexism, discriminations, and all of that. You look to people down because they're male or female, or you look down somebody down because they're black or white. It's an illusion. It's misconception about who we are, misunderstanding of our origin. And by the way, when a person believes that, it changes their perspective of themselves, self-worth. When you believe that, no matter what this person thinks about you, he's your relative, you're not admitting it, but he related to you. Therefore, you should not feel that you were less than another human being. Allah said, وَاعْبُدُوا اللَّهَ وَلَا تُشْرِكُوا بِهِ شَيْئًا. Then he said, وَبِالْوَالِدَيْنِ إِحْسَانًا. In ayat, the beginning of the surah, said, تَسَاءَلُونَ بِهِ وَالْأَرْحَامِ, kinship. إِنَّ اللَّهَ كَانَ عَلَيْكُمْ رَقِيبًا. Allah is over watching over you. That being God conscious, being God centered, have Allah been the center of our life, it impacts our view of all relationship. Now the second thing Allah said, when you have tawheed, you have the oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you have good relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then وَبِالْوَالِدَيْنِ إِحْسَانًا, which has come the concept of family. Family, there's the immediate relationship that the Quran always talk about in family is our parents. وَبِالْوَالِدَيْنِ إِحْسَانًا. Why is that? Because when it comes to relationship with mothers and fathers, let us start with the mother first. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, أَنَا الرَّحْمَنِ, I'm الرحمن. خَلَقْتُ الرَّحِمِ, I created the womb. وَشَقَقْتُ لَهَا إِسْمًا مِنْ إِسْمِي, I named the womb after me. Rahim, Ra, Ha, Mim, Rahman. Ra, Ha, Mim, Nun. You put alif there, Rahman, because in the Quranic writing there's a lot of alif there. If you write it in Arabic standards, modern standards, you put an alif, Rahman. Therefore, Rahim, and then Rahman. Therefore, the first three letters of Rahim from the name of Allah Ar-Rahman. He said, I named the Rahim, the womb, after me. فَمَنْ وَصَلَهَا وَصَلَنِي وَمَنْ قَطَعَهَا قَطَعَنِي. Whoever connect with the womb, connect with me. Or if they disconnect themselves with the womb, disconnect themselves with me. Now, that's very important for the world now today, very dismissive of parents. Look all the comedy, especially fathers, or they're making fun of fathers. The respect of our parents have went down. Across the globe, by the way, unfortunately. But for Muslims, وَبِالْوَالِدَيْنِ إِحْسَانًا. Allah says so. Even He says, وَإِنْ جَاهَدَاكَ عَلَّا تُشْرِكَ بِمَا لَيْسَ لَكَ بِعِلْمٍ فَلَا تُطِعْهُمَا وَصَاحِبْهُمَا فِي الدُّنْيَا مَعْرُوفًا. If they ask you to commit shirk, don't listen to them, but be kind to them. Still, that's a very important, statement. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala telling us, even if they ask you to do wrong thing, don't listen to that wrong thing, but be kind to them. وَبِالْوَالِدَيْنِ إِحْسَانًا. The first thing can collapse in any society, in any system, when this family unit is collapsing, civilization is going to collapse. I have no doubt in my heart. If the family unit collapse, matter of time, civilization is going to go down. Because when they say the family is a cornerstone of society, it's not a cliché. That's why most of the ahkam in the Quran, rulings, are about family, not about even rituals. Most of the rulings in Quran is about family. وَبِالْوَالِدَيْنِ إِحْسَانًا. I have a young man who accepted Islam in this masjid. His parents were now Muslims. They come to me and says, our son cannot just be better than this. He's more kind to us, help us to clean the house, he helped doing things. They said to me, we just want to know his church, the masjid he goes to, because of behavior have changed. He changed behavior 100%. He took Islam very seriously, this guy. Was told that if you want Allah to be pleased with you, take care of your parents. وَبِالْوَالِدَيْنِ إِحْسَانًا. Then, after taking care of parents, the next relationship will be the qurba, which is the concept of extended family, which is in many places now extended family disappearing. Will be the qurba. Some people don't know who their cousins are. They have not talked to their uncles, their aunts for a long time. Will be the qurba. That is a safety net. Social safety net. It's very important for anyone raising children in America. Trust me. Very important. Even if your family is overseas, let them get to know who they are. وَبِذِي الْقُرْبَى. Now, in order to know the qurba, you have to know lineage. تَعَلَّمُوا مِنْ أَنْسَابِكُمْ وَتَصِلُوا بِأَرْحَامِكُمْ. Know from your lineage that will allow you to connect to your kinship. How many grandfathers you can count? 3? 4? See why only 3 you know, only 2 you know. We used to memorize, at least I used to, until 12 grandfathers. Because it's the tree, family tree. I should have memorized all of them, 30 something. That is in the tree. But it's very important to know how the relationship with your family look like, and who are the uncles and great uncles and great aunts and cousins. وَبِذِي الْقُرْبَى. Then, see, walidain, parents, kinship. Then immediately Allah mentions yatama. Why yatama? Because yatama, they are the ones who don't have extended family support system. sometimes the orphans being left in society, especially in orphanage home, then the society have to become their family. They have to take care of them. But the Quran says, وَبِالْوَالِدَيْنِ إِحْسَانًا وَبِذِي الْقُرْبَى وَالْيَتَامَى. Rasulullah said, me and the person take care of the orphan like this in paradise. Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he said that when you touch the yatim, you put your hand on the head of a yatim, you get reward for that. Why he said putting your hand on the head of the yatim? To recognize his existence. To say to the yatim, especially our family relatives, that you've been taken care of. Because yatim want be loved. Want the family that take care of them. Want compassion. Because that was absent from his life or her life. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reminded Rasulullah being an orphan in Surah Al-Duha. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الضحى والليل إذا سجى ما ودعك ربك وما قلى وللآخرة خير لك من الأولى ولسوف يعطيك ربك فترضى ألم يجدك يتيما فآوى. Then he found an orphan and he gave you shelter. Who are this system that protect the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam? من الذي آوى الرسول صلى الله عليه وسلم? Who are they? You know the list? His grandfather, Abdul Muttalib, Abu Talib. But the most important, the women. You know what are they? Fatima bint Asad. You know Fatima bint Asad? We talked about it in the Umrah, didn't we? Fatima bint Asad is a wife of whom? Abu Talib. She used to put food aside for Rasulullah when he was a child. Because there's very many children. She worried about him not having food. Because he used to do working as a shepherd. So she put the food aside for him. But Rasulullah used to notice that. When Abu Talib went to buy clothes for her, she said, no, I don't need that. Buy clothes for Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Buy him the clothes. For Rasulullah, when she was dying, he sat next to her. قال كنت أمي بعد أمي. You were my mother after my mother. تجوعين لأشبع. Many times you went hungry so I can be fed. تعرين لأكسو. You let go of the clothes that you may like or you may need for me to be clothed. Then when they went to bury her, Rasulullah laid down in her grave. Made dua first. Laying down in her grave, then asked them to bury her. That's how much she loved her. The second person is Baraka, Ayman, a Cuban lady, African lady. Arabic language is not her first language. She spoke Arabic with accent, heavy accent, and used to make grammatical mistake. But Rasulullah always joked with her, loved her. He used to tell her every new revelation, he would go and convey to her directly him, not to hear from somebody else. She witnessed his birth and she witnessed his death, only person. She saw him when he was a baby, saw him when he passed away. Barak. Thuwayba. She was a woman being freed by Abu Lahab, by the way. Thuwayba. Halima Sa'adiyya. All of that are women around Rasulullah. Of course, his mother, until 60 years old. أَلَمْ يَجِدْكَ يَتِيمًا فَآوَى. Therefore, the society that does not take care of the orphans is a society lack moral values. You judge civilization by how much it takes care of the most vulnerable people in it. Not by high-rising. Not by the wealthy people and having more private jets. You don't count this civilization by materials, by compassion. How much compassion, how much care they have in society of the vulnerable people. Any civilization that does not take care of vulnerable peoples is a civilization of void. It doesn't have values. It is not civilization not built on materials, but built on people. He says, وَالْيَتَامَى. And after that, Allah talks about al-masakin. Al-masakin are the people who have needs not be met, but they have the food of the day. Faqir is a person who doesn't know where the next meal comes from. Therefore, faqir is more than miskin. But then why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this ayah did not mention fuqara? Because if you mention miskin, then faqir is included. Like you can say, everyone who making above poverty line, just above poverty line income, deserve help. Did that include people in poverty or no? Yeah, because you put a base. Allah said masakin. Masakin in the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about the people who own a ship. وَأَمَّا السَّفِينَةَ فَكَانَتْ لِمَسَاكِينَ يَعْمَلُونَ فِي الْبَحْرِ. Allah called them the masakin, although they own a ship, because they're making daily living, fishing, and they sell the fish and so forth for the day, live day by day, called like day labor. The day labor is masakin. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَالْمَسَاكِينَ. Therefore, and the economic system in Islam is that we believe that the Islamic theory of money, that money is belongs to Allah. In real sense, money is not ours. Allah is the one who provides the money. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one who can take away the money, or can take the person who have the money. And therefore this idea of what to do with money is a very important idea in Islam. How you accumulate wealth and how you utilize wealth. And how do you share wealth. Because you see, when many theory about money written, doesn't have God at the center of it. It has greed and human prosperity and as a center of it. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reminds us in the Quran in many verses that the money belongs to Allah. أنفقوا مما رزقناكم. You spend from what we have given you. ما جعلكم مستخلفين فيه. The idea of istikhlaf. Do you know you can create a lot of wealth with this concept? That the money belongs to Allah. Let us use it how Allah wanted us to use it, and share it in the way that everyone have a piece of it, and we can create a lot of wealth. You know, it's one of the Khalifa. He saw a cloud, like they're going to rain somewhere. He said, either you rain here, if Allah direct you somewhere else, it's still the zakah of it going to come back here. There's so much Muslims at that time. قال أمطري حيث شئتي فسيأتيني خراجك. Rain whatever Allah decree for you to rain, zakah going to come back here. Do you know, it is true story, was a time that Muslims have collected zakah, and they look for poor and needy people, and they couldn't find any poor person. Every person was self-sufficient, because the zakah being paid before, it empowered them to become self-sufficient. You see, the zakah system is a very interesting, powerful system in Islam. If you pay your zakat to somebody who couldn't pay the rent, you live in the Muslim community, who are you helping? Huh? You're helping this person to have a place, a roof above their head, but you're helping the landlord. When you pay them zakah, you help them to buy grocery. You're helping this person, but you're helping what? The farmer, the worker at the grocery store who get paid. See? The money goes back to society. You get my point? But by helping people, you're helping the society. But when you help someone, as Umar radiallahu anhu said, إِذَا أَعْطَيْتُمْ فَغْنُوا. When you give somebody money, give them the money to become self-sufficient. Rasulullah said to the man, a man said, Ya Rasulullah, help me. Rasulullah did what, there's two cases I'm going to mention to you. Anyone here social worker? Anyone of you do social work? No? Look, in social work, there's something called case management. No, I don't know if you know this concept, case management. For Rasulullah, I give you two cases of case management. A man said, Rasulullah, I want help, financial help. Rasulullah said, do you have anything to sell? Do you own anything? He said, Ya Rasulullah, except this ring, metal ring, khatim al-hadid. Rasulullah said, would you allow me to sell it? He said, yeah. Then Rasulullah auctioned it. Then he told him, take this money and get me head of an axe head. Go and buy with it. He brought it back. He said, bring me a piece of wood. And he put it together. He said, now go and do some work. He gave him the tool. The man becomes self-sufficient, start working, selling wood. But he told him how to utilize the money he has, how to invest it. The other one is Jabir ibn Abdullah. Jabir ibn Abdullah. For Rasulullah was on the trip, and he asked about Jabir. He said, what is Jabir? He said, Ya Rasulullah, his camel is sick, and therefore he sat down, he does not move. And he sat next to his camel. They were in the caravan together, were in a journey together. For Rasulullah left the group, went to look for Jabir, and found him sitting next to his camel. So Jabir, what's going on? He said, my camel is sick. Rasulullah made dua, the camel became okay. Jabir rode in his camel. Rasulullah then started riding next to him. He asked him, Jabir, are you married? He said, I just got married. He said, did you marry a woman never been married or a woman been married before? He said, I married a woman been married before. I've been married before. He said, why? You've not been married before. That's your first marriage. Why did you do so? Rasulullah himself married a woman been married before, Khadija. But you want to ask Jabir, you want to get more information. We call that in case management, intake. He said, because my father passed away and he left me 7 sisters. And I want somebody that can identify with them and help me with them. Then what Rasulullah come to know? Jabir ibn Abdullah has a car that have bad transmission, the camel, and he have 7 sisters to take care of. That means his financial situation is not that good. Then Rasulullah asked him, he said, Jabir, what you sell me your camel? Sell me this. Can you sell your camel to me? He said, Ya Rasulullah, I will not sell it to you. I will give it to you free. Rasulullah said, no. I'm not accepting free camel. I want to buy it from you. I want to help you. Then he said, Ya Rasulullah, with the case, how much are you going to pay for it? Rasulullah gave him a price. He said, Ya Rasulullah, that's not cut it. Now it become business. He says, Tabkhisni, this is not what it's worth. It's worth more than that. Rasulullah want to see how much this man need. Then Rasulullah raised the price to a amount of gold. Then Jabir says, sold. Khalas. Then Rasulullah said to him in that journey, he said, Jabir, when you go back to Medina, find another job. Find a job for yourself, something that you can do. Now he knows you're going to give him the money. Now he has cash. Do something with it. Then when he went to Medina, Jabir ibn Abdullah, radiallahu anhu, brought the camel and have it to sit in front of Rasulullah home. Rasulullah got him out for Fajr, said, what is this camel? Why is this camel in front of my house? He said, Jabir said you bought it from him. Rasulullah smiled. He called Bilal. He said, Bilal, give him the price that I promised him and give him the camel back. Because he wants to know how much he needs. You see how the dignified way of asking? It is Jabir ibn Abdullah who no longer miskin fed the whole army in Al-Khandaq. When he saw Rasulullah have a stone around his stomach, Jabir ran to his wife, said, Ya imra'a, oh my wife, Rasulullah and his companions are hungry. She said, okay, tell him this, we have food for 10 people. At that time, not many people, there's not many people in Medina have food for 10 people. We have a goat, small goat, and have bread and food for 10 people. Rasulullah did not bring 10 people. He announced to the entire army, 300 people, said, Jabir is inviting you for dinner. There's no text message. He couldn't text his wife. Have to run. He ran to his wife. He says, my wife, guess what? Not 10 people are coming. The 300 people are coming to our home. We're going to have a lot of party outside this house. The home cannot take 300 people. Many people will be fed on the street. She said, did he tell him that I have food only for 10 people? He said, yes. He said, then he knows best. I'm not worried. He's not going to embarrass us. But Rasulullah said to Jabir, tell your wife not to start serving anyone until I come. Rasulullah started serving people with his own hand. He served 300 people. And there was a leftover food. Barakah, blessing. The point was making that Jabir radiallahu anhu is no longer a miskin. Now he's helping others. That's why the Quran says, وَالْمَسَاكِينَ. Now, وَالْجَارِ ذُو الْقُرْبَى. Now the rights of the neighbor. Tomorrow, inshallah, we have an open house. We have to bring our neighbors to this masjid. Every neighbor in America who has a Muslim person next to them, they have an impression about them. Negative or positive? Am I correct? What we need to do to be consistent, to remain positive, whether people like us or not, we have to do the right thing. The neighbors have rights on us. You have to be kind, gentle, compassionate, caring individuals. Allah says, وَالْجَارِ ذُو الْقُرْبَى. This word ذُو الْقُرْبَى, they said is a neighbor who's your relative. Or the neighbor that's near you. If a person have a neighbor who's a relative, then have two rights on them. Being a neighbor and being a relative. And Muslims, the rights increased. But every neighbor has a right on us. Rasulullah said, مَا دَالُ جِبْرِيلُ يُوصِينِ بِالْجَارِ. Jibreel continued to advise me to take care of the neighbor, to the extent that I thought that the neighbor would become part of the family and become entitled of inheritance. Right? وَالْجَارِ ذُو الْقُرْبَى. وَالْجَارِ الْجُنُوبِ. A neighbor that is stranger, we don't know. See, he covered all of them. Or the neighbors far from us, 7 neighbors, and the neighborhood, homeowner association, people in the building. وَالْجَارِ الْجُنُوبِ. Right? Covered now the neighbors. وَالصَّاحِبِ بِالْجَنْبِ. Who's a sahib al-jamb? A sahib al-jamb is your colleague at work. The person who sits next to you in the plane. The person who play with you in the soccer team. Sports person. The person who you have inter-business relationship with. All of this covered by this. The companion who's next to you. Your associate. وصاحب الجنب. It covers all other relationships. وابن السبيل. Then of all of this list, of those people, that people you are identified with, people you know, from your parents, to your kinship, to your neighbors, the orphans, all of these people in society that we have to take care of. But he says now, strangers, the person come to Adam Center, moved from another state, and he and his family or her family, they want to be part of the community, but no one have welcomed them. Or a person who's a traveler. He's connecting flight. His flight was delayed in Dallas airport. He walked to this masjid, and he doesn't know anyone. Or a person, a traveler who lost his money. Ibn Sabil. Welcoming the stranger to our community. Ibn Sabil. وَمَا مَلَكَتْ أَيْمَانُكُمْ. And the people who have the legal custody, that's people that we have that legal custody, that our relationship with, that you might become a foster parent. You might have people in the legal system. Because مَلَكَتْ أَيْمَانُكُمْ used to be like prison of war. Now everyone who have legal custody, وَمَلَكَتْ أَيْمَانُكُمْ. إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يُحِبُّ مَنْ كَانَ مُخْتَالًا فَخُورًا. Now, what is destroy relationship? Pride and arrogance. Racism, discriminations, hatred, bigotry. That's why Allah said Allah does not love those who are arrogant and full of pride. Humility is a reason for a person to submit to Allah. Humility is a reason that a person be kind to their parents. Because Allah said, lower your wing for your parents. وَاخْفِضْ لَهُمْ جَنَاحَ الذُّلِّ مِنَ الرَّحْمَةِ. You know why he said, lower your wing in the Quran? Because he made you like a bird. The birds take care of the little birds until the feathers grow, and then they start flying. They teach them how to fly. And as they do so, that the person must what? As you fly out of the nest, don't forget the nest. Lower your wing. And therefore, the arrogant person is a person that does not do ihsan to their kins, does not take care of the orphans, does not take care of the needy. They don't have a good relationship with their neighbors or colleague or people who work with them. They abuse people in their custody because they have pride and arrogance. I promised that to stop before the hour for question and answer. From next week, inshallah, we're going to introduce new concept. We're going to agree first on it. Then, if any questions that you want to ask me regarding this ayah, any questions from the brothers or sisters? Any questions? No questions? Whatsoever? No one asking questions. Okay. There's any questions coming from online? Well, they cannot ask questions, can they? Huh? Soon, inshallah. If there's no questions, I want to ask you a question. Huh? Okay, go ahead. Brother Noor asked a very important question. He says, I said you have to maintain a relationship with your extended family. He says, what if the extended family have different values than yours? You know, in Islam, our kin relationship has to be maintained, even if they have people with different values than ours, but we can control the interactions. I'll give you an example. If you believe that sometimes you may have people that, if you're in their home, your children be exposed to something they should not be exposed to, then you have to neutral place. If there's a place, a third place, you can meet them, yes, or you invite them to your home, or at least call them and check on them. You know? But don't cut off a relationship. Because one of the concepts of Salat al-Rahim, connected to kins, is to connect with somebody who disconnect with you, actually. Because Sila means to reconnect. If you have a good relationship, that is maintaining good relationship. Rasulullah said, one of the signs of the believers, of piety and righteousness, is to give the person who deprive you. أن تعطي من حرمك وتصل من قطعك, to connect to somebody who cut you off. وتعفو عن من ظلمك, and to forgive a person who have wronged you. Now, it's very important that to communicate your values to your extended family, not to be wishy-washy about it. Especially when they come to children. They say, my children, they don't watch TV at the time, they don't watch this particular show. And you tell your children, if somebody asks you to watch this, said, no, I have to ask my parents first. For they know what to communicate, not to feel shy, because sometimes in order to appease people, we compromise on a principle. And that should not be the case. Other questions? Yes, Sheikh.
What age will they qualify as a yatim?
Yatim is a person or a child under age that the Quran called them orphans, you know, and until a person become of righteous, be able to differentiate the right and wrong, become of an age of responsibility. You know, the age of rushd. Therefore, they have to be their money, for example, has to be guarded, and a person who take care of the money of the orphans can take money as service fees, but not to take money that to go beyond that. For example, foster parents, they get paid by the government to take care of the people, of the children. But the money was given to them so they can have a shelter, a food, and so forth. And the Quran warned us from consuming the money of the orphans. إن الذين يأكلون أموال اليتامى ظلما إنما يأكلون في بطونهم نارا. Those who take the money of the orphans unfair and unjust way, they consuming fire in their belly, in their stomach. Very big warning. لا تأكلوا أموال اليتيم إلا بالتي أحسن. That you cannot take the money of the orphans except what Allah permit you to do so. Yeah. No questions? Yes. How the orphan? How long? You take care of the orphans by providing them what their parents would have provided for them with the means that you have. But when they are earning and they become independent, no longer become your responsibility. Yeah, you help them, continue to help them. If a person doesn't have not sufficient money and they're orphans, especially females, that maybe at their parents, they couldn't afford to provide education, provide means of them to be self-sufficient, to continue to take care of them. You have questions? It's a very important concept. You're asking about how to manage relationship. You see, all successful relationships are well-managed relationships. And well-managed relationship is also managing personalities. One of the biggest things in successful marriage is to overlook, to let go. To let go, seriously. Not abusive relationship, though. Not harmful relationship. But overlook small things. Because if you dwell in everything, relationship will become very difficult. You know what the Sunnah called? Called Sunnah al-Taghaful. Sunnah overlooking, to overlook things. Every person who have a simple needs and doesn't have big expectations have healthy relationship. The more you raise your expectations, more than the person can fulfill expectations, the more you create tensions. For example, if a person they have children that they do their homework and been taking care of them and so forth, but the living room is messy. Is a priority to take care of the children's homework and helping, well-being, and so forth, or you concentrate at that time in fixing the messy living room? Sometimes the priority happens, but perfection belongs to Allah. Also, by the way, in colleague relationship, business relationship, you have to manage personalities. In community relationship, you have to manage personalities. If you don't manage personalities, you have to know who this person is, where they're coming from, why saying what they're saying. And sometimes people say to me, why didn't you respond to this brother? He just said this to you. I said, I know him. You don't know him. You have to manage personalities. Rasulullah, there's no one who has mastered this art of managing personalities more than Rasulullah. He knows what Abu Dharr looked like, and he knows what Umar looked like, he knows what Uthman looked like, he knows what Ali looked like, he knows what Abdullah ibn Zubayr looked like. Managing personalities is always. And managing personality requires to be observant. What Rasulullah said to Sayyidah Aisha? He said, Ya Aisha, wallahi, inni la'arif ridaki wa sakhatik. I know the time when you're happy, the time you're not happy. He said, when you're happy to say, I swear by the Lord of Muhammad. When you're not happy with me, you said, I swear by the Lord of Ibrahim. He said, Naam ya Rasulullah, wallahi la ahjuru illa ismak. Only when I'm angry with you, I don't mention your name. He knew what he's talking about. But he told her this not the time when she was upset. The time when she was calm, to say, by the way, I'm observing and listening. I know exactly what you mean by that. Therefore, it's understanding personalities is very important. Managing personalities. Any other questions? Sister, no questions? You object to what I say? Okay. One of the things I'm going to have you to think about, I've been thinking about have this class be like topic-based. Like we do tafsir, chronological order after Fajr. I do tafsir in order to Mus'haf after Fajr also. But there's something called topical tafsir. Take a topic, this is what the Quran talks about. Well, inshallah, work my Afraz brother to work on this issue. And then we would like to introduce new things. Brother Noor, Jazawullah Khair, maintaining all of this Qurtuba classes. طيب سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك لا اله الا انت استغفرك واتوب اليك. اعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. والعصر ان الانسان لفي خسر الا الذين امنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. سبحان ربك والعزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين الحمد لله رب العالمين. جزاكم الله خير. The homework I'm going to give you, go and look to this ayah 36 in Surah Al-Baqarah, Surah Nisa, sorry, and list those relationships that I just mentioned. Inshallah. جزاكم الله خير. I might ask about them next week.